Fresh off the announcement that Elon Musk has bought Twitter, he has already floated some ideas to make his investment pay off. After all, homeboy paid $44 billion for Twitter. $44 billion. That is a ton of money. Obviously, he dumped Tesla shares for it, but he also got a lot of money from the banks. And so, well, what happens? You borrow money, you're going to have to do a return on investment. And that's what Elon Musk is now trying to do. Apparently, he did not have this planned beforehand, which is interesting. So he's floated some ideas according to people familiar with the matter. In fact, this is according to Reuters. Musk had made a pitch to lenders as he had tried to secure the debt for the buyout days after submitting his offer to Twitter on April 14th. According to these three people, he had told banks that had agreed to help his $44 billion acquisition that he would try to monetize Twitter. Oh, really? Monetize Twitter. Now, that offer was accepted by the board, the $44 billion. So now I'm going to be focused more on what this means for the average Twitter user, because I think that's really important. But I do want to contextualize this as well with other things that he could do. The sources mentioned that the plans that he outlined were, to the banks were thin on details. So let me get this straight. So Elon Musk goes to the banks and says, "Hey guys, I need like $11 billion, or however much he borrowed from these banks." Because again, he did sell Tesla shares in order to fund part of it as well, and a lot of it is going to come out of his pocket. But he still needed a substantial loan from these financial institutions. So he comes up and he says, "Well, I need this much money. What are you going to do?" "Well, I'm going to buy Twitter." "Okay, why should we give you the money? What are you going to do? How are you going to make money and give us a return on investment? Because Twitter ain't going to make that much money." Well, apparently he had no idea. Could you imagine being a normal person? Well, you are a normal person if you're watching the show, very likely. I couldn't just come up to a bank and be like, "Yo, I need $10 billion. And I have no idea what I'm going to do to pay you back." They're going to laugh in your face. But considering how it's Elon Musk, well, obviously, we're going to give you that money. Yes. Based on some vague, predictions that you will somehow make it profitable. Again, not every bank would loan to him, obviously. There were some that were like, "Yeah, we're just not sure. You're kind of predictable. We don't know if you're actually going to be able to make the money." But some banks were like, "Yes! Oh, let's do it." Oh, all right. Great. Now, some of his ideas, interestingly enough, are not entirely horrible. And for example, Musk said, "You know what? I'm gonna eliminate the salaries of Twitter's board of directors." I'm not against that. I mean, look, and here's why. Twitter's stock-based compensation for the 12 months ending December 31st was $630 million. Do they really need a $3 million salary, the board members? Not really. Executives get overpaid in all of these giant corporations. And so, hey, if you want to get rid of that, save some money, totally fine. Totally fine. However, that's one good idea. And the rest of these ideas, not so good. Bloomberg News reported earlier on Thursday that Musk specifically mentioned job cuts as part of his pitch to the banks. So of course, oh yeah, we're just going to eliminate some jobs. Oh, so you're going to make people unemployed to save money in order to pay for your stupid acquisition. Oh, great. So you got people... Again, this is what happens, right? Some rich douchebag comes and buys up a company, and who suffers first? Obviously, it's regular workers. It's working people that are there, that will end up being cut. The people at the bottom, of course, with no power. Surprise, right? No, not a surprise at all. Now, one of the sources said that Musk will not make any decisions on any job cuts until he assumes ownership of the company later this year. Now, on the subject of job cuts, I wonder who's going to go first. I wonder what department is going to get eliminated. It's probably going to be the ones that moderate chat or do content moderation on Twitter. Because again, that really goes along with Elon Musk's so-called free speech stance, where basically he's going to let just about anything go. Oh yeah, I totally believe in free speech. This is why we're not going to do any moderation on content, which means we're just going to let anybody post just about anything. Now, that's not going to go well, is it? No, of course not. It's going to end up with the website filled with Nazis and people taking pictures and posting of their own feces. Why? Because that's exactly what happened. That's what happened on Parler. The CEO had to come out and say, hey, look, really, guys, stop sending pictures of your own poop. Please. Stop posting pictures of your poo. We are tired of it. We're fed up. We're sick of your shit. Literally. Oh, okay. Well, great. So, look, and here's the thing that I've argued, right? You do need some ground rules. I'm sorry, but if you're running a social media company, you need ground rules, or you're going to bring in the worst people who are going to do and say the worst kinds of shit. In some cases, post literal shit. That's why you need these rules. I know, but free speech, censorship. I'm sorry, but you do need ground rules, or you're going to have a place that is going to drive out people who don't want to see Nazis everywhere. People who do not want to deal with the kind of harassment. You know what that means? It means that no matter what kind of monetization options that he's bringing. And by the way, you also become a product, because another idea, before I get too ahead of myself, was one of the ideas that he brought up included charging a fee when a third-party website wants to quote or embed a tweet from a verified individual or organization. So, oh yeah, hey, what news website? Yeah, if you want to take this tweet that you can totally screenshot and post anyway on your website for a story, we're going to charge you for it. How you going to enforce it, bro? You going to take everybody to court? You going to sue people who take a tweet? And by the way, do you think that you own these tweets? Because I don't know, like if you post on Twitter, does Elon Musk now own what you have said? Is that now content that he can monetize, but you can't? Have you become a product? And by the way, that's exploitative. Because if you're taking stuff that I'm saying, stuff that I'm putting on Twitter, and you're monetizing it without my consent and without giving me money, well, then you have exploited my labor, my thoughts, my intellectual property. Does that mean I could sue you? This whole thing is a can of worms. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so, look, that's where it could very likely affect us. But again, how you can enforce it, it's just like NFTs, right click and save. Oh, I'm sorry, screenshot and paste. Stupidest idea I've ever seen. Stupidest idea. And by the way, if it does become a pay platform, then nobody's going to be on it, because who is going to pay to be on Twitter? No, the whole thing, again, when you monetize something too much, a platform, just to access it, especially one that purports to be free speech and is full of Nazis, well, look, we know how that's going to end. it's going to be a disaster. And then Elon Musk is going to lose all of his money. The guy has no idea what he's doing. None at all. No idea. The guy's going to lose his investment, and it probably will be forced to sell it off cheaper than when he bought it. Or he might just have to go back to doing the current kind of moderation policies that they do now and destroy his so-called free speech argument. So, and really, going back to the reason that he did this in the first place, his ego. He just wanted to make sure that he could go after people that make fun of him on Twitter. So, congratulations. Whatever direction he ends up going, it's probably going to be quite terrible for anybody who's still on Twitter.